Back on my Hunger Games reading. I'm so close to getting to the new one. But I have recently read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is the first prequel that Suzanne Collins has done. This is the one focusing actually on President Snow and his kind of, I don't want to say rise to power because he's still like a child in this. He's like essentially like a senior in high school when it comes to this book, but it's how he was envisioning the Hunger Games. It takes place actually during the 10th Hunger Games, and people aren't really watching. How sad, they're not watching the child death match. And so the idea of what him and his classmates are doing is that they now become the mentors instead of having other former winners be the mentors. They are the mentors in hopes of bringing new life into this wonderful, wonderful event. Snow, Coriolanus ends up getting the District 12 tribute, who is Lucy Gray Baird, and he's upset about that because District 12 never wins. At least they haven't in the past 10 years. And he knows that it's not like the best district because it's like the poorest district. But him and Lucy Gray, really do form a connection, and he's trying to see, maybe she's like, like a person, and like, I don't really want her to die. Maybe this isn't the best thing for us to do. What I really do love about this book, I know when it was first announced that a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want a book about Snow. Like, he's the villain, he's the bad guy. And like this doesn't change like my opinion on him. I still think he's evil. I still think he's a bad guy. Obviously, we know what he becomes. But I really think it's interesting to see his mindset, to get into his brain and see why he views things like this as the morally right thing to do, because he was also impacted by the war. He was a child during that time, like 6, 7, 8 years old. So he's going to view things a lot differently than those in the districts. And while it is a skewed perception, obviously because he's still living fine life, like he's not threatened every single year of potentially, entering the death arena, but he's, it's just a fascinating way of looking into your villain and looking and seeing how their mindset is compared to everybody else's, and then really just making you hate him more a little bit, but just how crazy he can be, and people who think like this, like what they can become. And I think that's what makes this book really interesting. Even if it isn't my favorite, it's still, I think, an important read and an important story for this whole series.